when it comes to that game and have some conversation. So I
Okay.
think we do. But welcome back to another episode of Wisco Fanatics. It's another Wisco Fanatics Wednesday. If you missed the last week of Milwaukee Bucks games and the two fantastic Badger games that we had last week, that is what we're going to be recapping today. So we're going to hit the intro and get started on
Welcome to another episode of the Wisco Fanatics Show, where we cover the Packers, Bucks, Brewers, and Badgers basketball and football teams from an optimistic and realistic perspective.
Alrighty, so as I said, starting with Bucks basketball, going back to last Wednesday, they were still on their Western Coast road trip, so the Bucks were still in Golden State last Wednesday. So, Jake, give me your thoughts from last Wednesday's game.
Yeah, kind of a frustrating game, to be honest with you. As I had to rewatch it because I fell asleep at halftime. It was a pretty late game. We played we did a pod, so we worked. We did a podcast. Then we played basketball late at night. Then we drove home, took showers, took dogs out, did all our stuff, and then the game was on, and I'm just like, yeah, I thought I was going to watch this whole thing. Hell no. So I watched the rest of it on the following day, and the Bucks actually shot the ball really efficiently. They shot 54% from the field, 44% from the three-point line, and the Warriors, they just made more shots because they had more volume. And I'm kind of starting to line my notes up with what went wrong or how did the Bucks win this game is how I'm going to phrase that. And in losses, I'm going to say what went wrong. So my three reasons for this one, what went wrong, is the Bucks lost to the Warriors because turnovers killed momentum. Every time it felt like the Bucks had an opportunity to, take momentum, I felt like they would have a turnover or a silly shot. I count bad forced shots as turnovers basically because it's like a live ball turnover. Like
it does the same thing. It gives your opponent the opportunity to go in transition off of it.
Exactly. The Bucks' lack of perimeter defenders couldn't slow down Golden State shooting. Golden State shot 18 of 47 from three. So getting a ton of shots up without the ball pressure to really kind of control that really reared its ugly head. And the Warriors controlled the pace. And I put Steph Curry in parentheses because Steph Curry really was the engine that controlled the pace in this one. The Bucks got a rhythm all night trying to keep up with Steph. Steph he's obviously one of the best players of all time. Some argue he's the best point guard of all time, but something that goes a little bit unnoticed is maybe his ability to know when to speed the game up and when to slow the game down, the passes he makes, understanding foul situations, all that kind of stuff. Steph Curry was a puppeteer, I will say. He was in control all night long, and he really showed his value. 31 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists for Steph Curry, and he was a massive plus 16 on the night. His shot making was just otherworldly, and like I said, he controlled the pace up and down the floor. And I went through some plus minuses on the Milwaukee Bucks, and two guys that really stood out, honestly. One was Gary Trent Jr., who took 7 shots, made 2 of them, and was a minus 11. And Kyle Kuzma, he was 5 for 7, 2 for 2 from 3, but he had 13 points, but he still ended the night a minus 13. So he was the worst on the team last Wednesday. Even though he was scoring the ball at a pretty efficient clip, he really didn't make the impact that we've seen him make before on defense. So looking for a bounce back performance from him going into the next game. And yeah.
So there's another guy that I think is strongly in need of a bounce back, and it's AJ Green. And, we can get into what happens after this game. But this game really made me consider, we might need to take AJ Green out of the starting lineup just for, to get some more size into the lineup, whether you put Kuzma in there or you put Bobby Portis in there and you basically treat Giannis as a small forward. However you want to do it, just because AJ Green, he is giving effort on defense. So there's the other side of the coin of the argument that I'm making, and I'm not arguing this super strongly, just to give AJ, just some breathing room, basically, because he started this game 1 for 3. He did finish 3 for 6, so that's good. That's 50%. But up to this game, the last 6 games since Giannis came back, AJ Green is 12 of 43 on threes. That's 27.9%.
Mm-hmm.
That's about 10 to 12% below where you would expect AJ Green to be. And when he's playing as a catch and shoot, shooting wide open, you expect him to almost be even closer to 45%. So you're talking 15 to 18% below where you expect him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a 6-game sample size. Maybe next week or the following week, we get to the last week of January, we revisit this conversation, and he's back up kind of where you expect him.
Mm-hmm.
This game specifically, the Bucks and the Warriors, they have been two of the worst treated teams by refs. I would say the three teams that have the worst ref treatment would be the Bucks, the Warriors, and the Celtics. But that being the case, Steph got a pretty soft foul call early in the game. Draymond Green is allowed to have two arms extended into Giannis and push as much as he wants, whether he has the ball or not. And also, Draymond gets to just chop down on Giannis's arms, and they don't even look at it. So what does that matter? That they don't even go and look at it, and now we're just letting people hack Giannis all they want. Like, what are we doing here? And then you don't even go and look at it. And Draymond did not go for the ball on that play either.
No.
Which is the thing that bothers me about it. Like, you want a hard foul, fine. But at least make it about basketball and not just the fact that you're trying to smack the shit out of somebody just because you don't want them to score.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that. Then a couple plays later, a couple minutes later, Kevin Porter Jr. gets teed up for arguing that the Bucks aren't getting the same calls that the Warriors are getting on the other end. And then later on, Kevin Porter Jr. gets elbowed in the face, and there's no call. So, unfortunately, I feel like Kevin Porter Jr. has taken AJ Green's place as getting the worst whistle in the NBA, and it's not defensively, it's offensively. Kevin Porter Jr. is not getting enough foul calls for a guy who plays as downhill as he does.
Facts.
He does once in a great while, like once out of every 5 or 6 games, he has a game where he shoots like 8 free throws. But then there's other games where he shoots like 2. It's like, for a guy that has his ball in his hands as often as he does, and as much as he plays downhill, there's no way he should be shooting less than 5 or 6 free throws a game.
I'd agree.
Now, to the controllable stuff, the Bucks, you can't give second chance opportunities to Stephen Curry.
Yeah.
You can't do it. The Warriors scored 22 second chance points. 7 of those came to Steph Curry. And again, if you take Steph way out of that, you put him at 15. That's where I want the Bucks to be. Under 15. Keep it under 15. They did allow 15 points off turnovers, which is fine. That's the league, around the league average is 15 points off turnovers, fine. But 8 of them came in the second quarter where the Bucks dug themselves a hole. All of their losses, they dig themselves a hole at some point in the game that becomes like they made a comeback attempt in this game and it just ended up being too late. So yeah, you look at it and they lost by 7. It's like, oh, it's a close game. It wasn't for 2.5 quarters.
Yep.
Then you look at the Bucks. Comparing the second chance points and the points off turnovers, the Warriors had 22 second chance points. The Bucks had 4. The Warriors had 15 points off turnovers. The Bucks had 8. The Bucks had 8 points off turnovers for the entire game that the Warriors had in the second quarter. Thankfully, that does change. So when we get to the Lakers game, we could have a better conversation about that. But as far as the game goes, Warriors, their role players finished their open looks when Steph had a lot of attention. The three-point shooting especially. Even Draymond Green and Al Horford were getting lucky bounces and getting shots to go in. So it is what it is. Looking at it, Giannis dominated the paint. 22 of his 34 points came in the paint. Unfortunately, he made the same number of threes as free throws, 2 on 4 3 attempts and 7 free throw attempts. And I'm not expecting Giannis to make 100% of his free throw, but 2 out of 7 is not going to do it.
Yeah.
Lastly, I want to give credit to Ryan Rollins. He played downhill. He only forced maybe 2 shots. Otherwise, he flowed pretty well. He scored 10 points in the paint as well. And then to Ryan Rollins' credit, Curry was very good, like you said, but Ryan Rollins did hold him 0 for 4 from the field. And then I just want to say, I think it's worth noting, the Warriors did beat the Kings 137-103 on Friday. So Warriors are playing hot if we're just being real about it. The last thing that I wanted to share, and let's see if I got it here somewhere. Maybe I don't. I wanted to show just the ridiculous out of bounds that didn't get called while somebody was dribbling and he had like 2 whole feet out of bounds and I didn't grab the picture of it. But
yeah, You sent it to me.
Another one of those things where it's like, okay, whatever. But we can move on to Friday's game. Much more aesthetically pleasing game on Friday. And looking at just the Bucks, they were a little bit turnover happy. They had 16 total, 5 in the first quarter. Allowed 15 points off turnovers, 15 second chance points. That's fine. That's right around the league average. But the Bucks produced 20 points off turnovers and 23 second chance points on 12 turnovers and 12 offensive rebounds. So that, fantastic. Do that all the time. That's great. Giannis had 9 of the Bucks' 23 second chance points on 4 offensive rebounds. And this is so frustrating because we're going to have conversations 2 games from now about like what the fuck Doc Rivers is doing. But then I look at this game and it's like, this was awesome. This was great. The way the players played, the way the game plan was set up, like it was intentional that the Bucks were using Giannis on offensive rebounds and perimeter defense. And he starred in both of those aspects. And it's like, okay, Doc Rivers might actually know what he's doing. We're going to have a conversation in 2 games.
Yep.
But this game, I have to give the credit. Like, the credit is there. The game plan was great to use Giannis on offensive rebounds and perimeter defense. The way that Doc Rivers used Giannis was fantastic. Kyle Kuzma was balling, especially in the second quarter, and Kevin Porter Jr. too in the second quarter. They helped the Bucks stay ahead in the non-Giannis minutes, which Lisa Byington will not shut up about. It's the only thing she talks about during Bucks games now. Kevin Porter Jr. and Kyle Kuzma, 10 points and 9 points. Kevin Porter Jr. had 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and a block in that second quarter. Kyle Kuzma had 9 of his 13 points in the second quarter, had a rebound and an assist as well. And he was a team-high plus 11 in that second quarter. Kevin Porter Jr. finished the game with 22 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals, a block on 7 of 14 shooting, and 7 of 10 at the free throw line. That's what Kevin Porter Jr.'s stat line should look like most nights. Again, I'm not expecting him to be 50% from the field all the time and, getting 10 free throws, but that's a fantastic stat line for Kevin Porter Jr. He was one of the great players of this game. This is unfortunately where Ryan Rollins kind of starts to slump a little bit. And he was forcing some jumpers. He was doing well getting downhill otherwise, but he got himself to the line 6 times, hit 5 of his free throws, which is good, but 1 for 7 on threes. And this is where, and this could be a Doc Rivers thing too, where I would like him to pull Ryan Rollins aside and say, hey, bud, you're not hitting your threes today. Start facilitating.
Mm-hmm.
People, and I will say, will look at Giannis's box score and be like, oh, he only scored 21 points. Yes, on 11 shots. He was 9 of 11 from the field, 3 for 4 from the free throw line. He was being constantly double teamed. Like almost every single possession, he was being double teamed. He added 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks in 30 minutes to his ledger with his 21 points. So an insanely efficient game, not to mention an insanely clutch game, especially defensively, getting a late block and a late steal. And he is the only player ever to block and steal the ball from LeBron James in the last minute of a game. That's never happened to LeBron James by anybody else in his 17,000-year playing career.
It only took 23 years, bro. Only took 23 years.
So he's been playing forever, and that's never happened to him. He's never had his shot blocked and the ball stolen in the final minute of a game ever.
Yep.
And Giannis did it to him on Friday night. Kevin Porter Jr., he hit 2 out of 3 of his clutch free throws. And then with Giannis poking the ball away from LeBron, Lakers didn't even get a chance to tie the game. The Bucks outscored the Lakers 11-3 in the final 3 minutes and 15-4 in the clutch, which is the last 5 minutes of the game.
So
the last couple of things I just wanted to add. Miles Turner made a really clutch 3. And AJ Green, this is another opportunity for him. He got lost multiple times on defense in those clutch minutes, and Giannis made up for it. But there was multiple miscommunications. That has to be fixed.
Yes.
But I will let you go, and then I want to end on how well the Bucks played defensively in this game.
Just want to throw something insane out there that LeBron James started playing basketball when I was 11 years old, and I have a 13-year-old son now. That sounds so stupid, bro. Like, when you actually step back and think about it, it's like, Jesus Christ.
LeBron James's playing career is older than his son, who's also in the NBA.
Yeah, that's insane. So I'm just kind of taking a second to reminisce, but, this might be the end of Aaron Rodgers. And I do believe that this will be LeBron's last year. I believe during the All-Star break, when everything's about the NBA, I think he's going to announce, like, hey, this is going to be my farewell tour. So two of the biggest sports stars in my life personally, who made me love football and love basketball more than I ever could have imagined, and the reason I'm sitting in front of a laptop with my best friend talking about sports is because of those two people and their careers about to end. So I honestly, I was a little emotional the other day when Rodgers was talking about how he's done. I'm like, oh, man, that hurts, dude. That hurts to hear. I never wanted to hear those words. But hopefully he signs a one-day contract with the Packers and retires a Packer. But
yeah,
we're going to talk about Bucks-Lakers. So, yes, Giannis was very efficient. I agree. The perimeter defense was much better. Lakers made some tough shots. Early, the defense was a little The game started kind of shitty, to be honest with you. First quarters have been – dude,
first quarter was hectic. Like, it was just insane. Like, both teams were just like, oh, turnover. Like, it was wild.
If you're going to tune into a Bucks game, probably don't start till the second quarter, because otherwise you're not going to know how to feel. The first quarters were just something else, man. I tell you what. They determined a lot of games for the Bucks, to be completely honest with you. Lakers made some tough shots. I thought Giannis did a really nice job setting the tone and controlling the pace. Going back to the Warriors game where Steph was controlling the pace, I thought that's what Giannis was trying to do versus the Lakers. And I thought he did a nice job taking his time, working through double teams, making the correct passes, stuff like that. They closed this game out on defense. And I'm just going to tell you right now before I say this last part, I take my notes immediately after games. So what I'm about to say is not true anymore, and it makes me feel bad for writing it down, but it's in pen. They close this game out on defense, and that gives me a ton of hope for this team. But I need consistency. Yeah. Jesus, golly.
I'm really glad that you said the last part, just because that's so how I feel.
The fact that they have the capability, and this is what makes me so mad. The fact that they have the capability to play the defense that they do at times and sometimes they play it for long stretches. It's not just a 2-minute stretch here. They play it for whole quarters.
I think they played 48 minutes of defense in this game. Maybe 43.
I'll say, yeah. But the fact they have the capability to play that defense, and then they just don't do it sometimes. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Like you said, we're going to have a conversation in a couple games, but strongly something we were talking about with trades today is I strongly feel that after reviewing my notes before we started the show.
Let me just tell you how good the defense was, and then we'll move on.
I have some clutch defense stuff I want
ahead.
to talk about first. Some clutch final 5-minute stuff before we move on here. So I'll let you finish. So at the 5:09 mark, Luka made an 8-foot fadeaway to give the Lakers a 94-90 lead, right? I went through the shooting splits. The Bucks were really good at defense. The Lakers shot 3 for 9 in the final 5 minutes. And I included that 5:09 because they call that clutch time in the NBA is the final 5 minutes. Yep. LeBron went 1 for 4. He made 2 for 2 from the free throw line. Luka went 1 for 4. So you have those two superstars over there in LA, and they combined to go 2 for 8.
Obviously, it was Jake LaRavia when AJ Green flew by.
Exactly.
That's the other clutch defense that I'm talking about. I have that in my notes.
That is the other shot. That's the only other shot they made. So for the Bucks, you would think, right, like, oh, Giannis has got to be carrying them on offense and defense. Actually, he was really just a one-man wrecking crew on defense, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Looking
at the offense, Portis made a layup with 4:50. Porter Jr. made a layup with 2 minutes to go, off a pass from Giannis, by the way. And Turner made a corner 3 with 1:36. So there's 7 of your points. The other 8 points that the Bucks scored in the final 5 minutes were all from the free throw line. Porter Jr. 2 for 2, and then he made 2 for 3 when he fouled out Luka. And then Rollins went 4 for 4 in the final 5 minutes. So both those guys making free throws, going 8 for 9 in the final 5 minutes. Porter Jr. making a layup. He was also the one that made the extra pass over to to set up Portis's layup. So Porter Jr. had his hands all over this game on the offensive end, especially. And Giannis, obviously, we've said this a bunch of times, but that's why we both think that he's the best player in the league, because he can make this kind of impact on both ends of the floor. Now, shooting 9 of 11 is super efficient, but being able to close the game up with a block and a steal, that just speaks to his value, honestly.
Yeah, and I mean, not expecting him to continue, but he's making threes this year.
He is.
Like, don't tell anybody, but like Giannis is making his threes this year.
Yeah.
Don't tell Giannis either, because like I feel like if he finds out that he's making threes, then he's gonna stop doing it. But just to highlight how good the Bucks were defensively, LeBron was 0 for 2 versus Kyle Kuzma and Ryan Rollins. Luka was 0 for 2 with 2 turnovers against Giannis. He was 4 for 11 versus Kevin Porter Jr., which is fantastic. Kevin Porter Jr. guarded him for 6 minutes and 38 seconds. He was 4 for 11 when guarding him. In 29 seconds, Luka was 0 for 9 against Bobby Portis, and this goes to a point of something that I've said. If you get a big man switched onto you, you should be driving by him and not trying to shoot over him, and Luka doesn't have the speed to drive by anybody. So he was trying to shoot over Bobby Portis a lot.
Bro, not having the speed, no disrespect. I mean this respectfully, but not having the speed to drive past Bobby Portis, who every once in a while just forgets that his feet are there on defense.
He literally watches people go by sometimes.
Literally insane to me.
And then looking at it, Luka was minus 14 against the Bucks. The Bucks versus Luka, switching it out, were 8 of 14 from the field. And if you take Ryan Rollins, who was 0 for 3, who had a bad game, the Bucks were 8 of 11 from the field against Luka. I literally wrote LOL in my notes next to that.
Bro, Luka and Jokic are like the same player, bro. They are.
Yeah.
They're both a little bit slow. They both have crazy touch. They both have crazy ability to find players and be playmakers, but they suck ass on defense.
Yep. Yeah. Lastly, some team numbers. The Bucks, in my opinion, played one of their better defensive games of the year, if not their best defending game of the year, holding the Lakers to 42.9% from the field, despite them being 15 of 36 on threes, which is 41.7%, which is actually really good. But that means the Bucks held them to 24 out of 55 on twos, which is 43.6%. The Los Angeles Lakers actually lead the NBA at 60.3% on twos. So that's a fantastic job by the Bucks. And to the field goal percentage as a whole, the Lakers are number 2 in the NBA at 49.6. Bucks held them to 42.9. And the Lakers are right around the league average at 115 points a game, but the Bucks held them to 101. So Bucks did fantastic job defensively in that Lakers game. So we can jump to the Nuggets game. You can give me your thoughts on this one. Honestly, the thing that just sticks out to this one for me is just like the fourth quarter and the way that some of that stuff went. So give me your thoughts from the game, and I'm going to just say a couple things and then talk about the end of the game.
Yeah, so the main portion of my notes is actually the last 5 minutes and 45 seconds of this game. I went through the play-by-play because I was like, all right, I got to see what this looked like, how jumbled everything was. So overall, the Nuggets went 4 for 7 on shooting. Nanji made a 3-foot layup that made it 97-89 with 5:45. Kuzma hits a 3, 97-92. I'm like, okay. I'm sitting up and I'm like, okay, the Bucks can find a way to steal one when the Nuggets are hurting, right? Let's find a way to steal one, right? 5 minutes, Watson gets a turnover. Okay, I'm starting to feel good, right? Momentum's starting to come to our side. Rollins misses a layup at the 4:42 mark. Gordon hits a 14-foot fadeaway. When the hell did he learn that, by the way? It's 99-92. Then Giannis at the 4:41 mark. Oh, I apologize. At 4:41, after Rollins missed that layup, there was a BS call. And the Nuggets challenged it. And I
strongly disagree with that call being overturned. Firstly, I will level with if they had called it on Giannis and the Bucks challenged, I don't think it's getting overturned.
I agree.
But I don't think this should have been overturned with it called on Gordon and then challenged by the Nuggets.
I agree. 100%.
Strongly disagree that should have been overturned. It should have stood as the way that it was called. Either way that it was called, it should have stood in my mind.
Yep, I
Because
agree.
yes, Giannis was absolutely, he had an arm around Gordon's arm. Aaron Gordon also had 2 forearms in Giannis's fucking rib cage.
Yep.
Like, what are we doing here? There's no way you're telling me that Giannis has one arm as strong as 2 of Aaron Gordon's arms.
Aaron Gordon is not a small guy either.
Dude, he's huge. I would say he's probably one of the stronger dudes in the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like he's being pushed by Matas Buzelis, who is just long, skinny, and athletic.
Agreed.
Then I could say Giannis, one of his arms is equal to 2 of his, but not Aaron Gordon.
Agreed. So after the BS call, that's when Gordon hits the fadeaway, right? Well, then after that, Kevin Porter Jr. hits a 3. It's 99-95. I'm still like, okay, we got over one bullshit call. Let's see what goes on. Well, then Hardaway Jr. apparently decides to get in a goddamn time machine today. He hits a 3-pointer, making it 102-95. After that, at the 3:29 mark, AJ Green hits a 3-pointer, 102-98. We're right there. We are. It's turning into one of those games where if we get over the hump, I feel like we're going to win. So we're at 102-98. 3:07 mark, 22 seconds after that, Hardaway Jr. hits an 18-foot mid-range. Okay, is what it is. Then Giannis at the 2:48 mark hits a 15-foot turnaround jumper like he's freaking Kevin Garnett. It's 104-100. We're feeling good. You get to the 2:24 mark. Watson, who apparently was trying to keep the Bucks in this game or give the game to them at some point, went 1 for 2 from the free throw line. It's 105-102. The 2:11 mark, this is where this I don't know what happened to our brains. They
Everybody
went directly
forgot
into
how
our asses.
basketball works.
But Rollins misses a 3-pointer. Get to the 154 mark. Watson then turns the ball over. Like I said, he's trying to give the game to us. Literally 2 turnovers and misses a free throw in clutch time. I'm like, dude, this guy's trying to give the game to us. Take the damn game. Get to the 151 mark. 3 seconds after that, Giannis turns the ball over. After we get a gift turnover. Then at the 131 mark, Gordon misses a jumper. Rollins gets a layup, 105-102. At the 102 mark, they're trying to run clock, obviously. Gordon misses a 3. At the 52-second mark, Porter Jr. missed the layup. 34-second mark, Pickett missed the jumper. 25 seconds to 13 seconds was literally the most Looney Tunes shit I've ever seen in my entire life on a basketball court. I still, to this point, don't know what the hell that was.
I rewatched it like 4 times, and I still just, like, I don't know what Kevin Porter Jr., Ryan Rollins, and AJ Green are thinking on that possession.
No idea.
Like, I can't make any sense of it.
So Rollins misses a layup. We get the rebound. AJ Green forces up one of the silliest 3-pointers I've ever seen in my life. I don't know what that was. That's the shot you take when you have 3 seconds left, not 13 seconds.
Yeah.
And at that point, they didn't even have 13 seconds. They had like 18 seconds. Then Kevin Porter Jr. gets the
because I don't remember if Rollins, I don't think Rollins' first shot touched the rim, or did it?
Oh, no, I don't think it did. You're right.
So they had I think it was 10, and then when Rollins shot another one from the corner, there was 4 or 5.
Yeah. Well, Green shot that one. We get the rebound, and at that point is when I'm telling myself and everybody, they should have tried a reset. You should have tried to at least let Giannis touch the ball. Because if Giannis touches the ball, he pulls everybody in. You're getting an open shot. You're getting a higher quality shot than what they were putting up. At the very least, if they miss it, it's whatever. But your best player must touch the ball. Honestly, I wouldn't have cared if they got a goddamn layup. They didn't need a 3-pointer. But anyways, Rollins then gets a shot in the corner after he fumbled the ball and dribbled the ball for 2 seconds and still put it up and it missed. Well, then after that, Gordon makes 2 free throws. Kuzma makes a layup to cut it to 2. Gordon makes 2 more free throws, and Giannis forces up a 3 with 3 seconds left, and he missed it. That's the ball game. The 25 to 13 second mark absolutely lost the game for the Bucks. They lost all composure. They had no offensive identity. I have no idea what that was. That was horrible.
It was terrible court and clock awareness by the guys on the floor. And the people that want to make this Doc Rivers fault, which I don't think is the case, this game to me is on the players.
Yeah.
Like, you have to have better court awareness than what they showed in those last 12 seconds of that stretch. Because this to me was their last complete offensive possession. So I'm considering this their last possession. Because the last two that they really had was one, Kuzma making a heads-up play to throw the ball off of Tim Hardaway Jr.'s back for a quick two, and then just the last shot chuck when they're down by 4 and a three-pointer doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So this is their last full possession. You just have to have better awareness. And the people that want to make it Doc Rivers' fault is, well, why didn't he call the timeout after the first rebound? Which he could have. But how often do you hear an announcer say that, okay, the ball stopped and now the other team gets to set up their defense? Things like that coming out of chaos often benefit the offense more than they benefit the defense because everybody gets lost.
Mm-hmm.
You're more likely to get AJ Green or Ryan Rollins lost because everybody's paying attention to where Giannis is and where the ball is.
Yep.
Versus, okay, yeah, we're calling a timeout. We have 10 seconds on the shot clock, and now everybody gets to set up their defense, and we know who's guarding who, and we're going to switch everything. Like, yeah, sure, you can get yourself reset, but it gives the other team the opportunity to get themselves set up too.
Exactly.
So I don't think this whole situation's on Doc at all. These guys need to get their shit together.
Bro, you're talking about people on the floor, right? So Miles Turner, he was literally just in the NBA Finals last year. Giannis, one of the greatest players of all time. AJ Green, been in the league long enough to understand late game situations. Ryan Rollins is literally the only person I would give an excuse to that maybe he doesn't have enough experience in these end of game situations. Literally the only one. Kevin Porter Jr. has been in the league plenty long enough to understand these late game situations. This makes no much sense. No sense at all. Sorry, I was trying to read Connor's comment along with saying my own, but it's just this team is so frustrating, man. Consistency is the key, the buzzword for this team the rest of the season.
Yeah. The other things that I had from this game was seeing guys struggle from the field. There were several guys that struggled. Kyle Kuzma was 5 of 13. He did make that heads-up play, like I said. Kevin Porter Jr. was 4 of 17, 1 for 6 from the three-point line. I think he definitely should have more foul calls than he got in this game because he was playing pretty aggressively and not like out of control aggressively, but he was playing aggressively. Ryan Reynolds was 1 for 9. The layup that you mentioned was his first and only points of the game. They came in the last couple minutes. He made some really bad decisions.
Yeah,
just really bad decisions. He did have a steal and 2 blocks on defense, but he needs some work. But the Bucks got to the free throw line 20 times. That's still below league average, and Giannis and Miles Turner had 18 of the 20.
Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous. There's no way that the guys who struggled, who played downhill, didn't deserve more than 2 free throws combined. And one of those 2 free throws was Kevin Porter Jr. getting a transition take foul. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
There's no way you're telling me that those guys deserve 1 combined free throw. Ridiculous.
That's what they're telling you, man.
So we can go to the Bucks and the Timberwolves game, and this is where I'm going to bring up Connor's comment because, honestly, I really don't even want to say anything about this game. I just want to have some conversations.
Yeah.
So Connor's question was, do you guys honestly think the Bucks should move on from Doc Rivers? I know not much fans of firing coaches. In general, no, we're really not fans of firing coaches. But when it comes to last night's game, I mean, the Bucks are playing without Miles Turner. So I think there's something to be said for that. The Bucks need Miles Turner. He's the engine of one of the engines of their defense, and he does help the offense. He makes their spacing better. That's why I wanted him on the Bucks, because he makes their spacing better. Mm-hmm. But without Miles Turner, that shouldn't get you to a point where you get just absolutely embarrassed on both ends of the floor. This game was embarrassing.
It really was.
Because this game is really where it's like, okay, this is what everybody thinks of us all the time. We know better, but now we just put on display what everybody thinks of us.
Yep.
Everybody thinks that the Bucks should blow it up, trade Giannis, fire Doc, get rid of everybody except for Ryan Rollins, basically, and play Pete Nance 25 minutes a game. because he's tearing it up in the G League.
Yeah,
Which, if the Bucks trade Bobby Portis, I mean, there might be some minutes there for Pete Nance, depending on who they trade him for.
Yeah.
But just an embarrassing game. I don't know what else you can say. And yes, we are the optimistic and realistic guys, and unfortunately, we have to be realistic about this. The first 4.5 minutes of the third quarter, the Bucks go on a 17-9, outscoring the Timberwolves, and that +8 cut the lead to 23. The Bucks were the meme last night of this guy hits a 3 and cuts the lead to 20.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't really have anything to say. There were just no stops to be had. The Timberwolves scored almost every single time. They had 52 points in 16 minutes. We were 4 minutes into the second quarter and they already had 52 points.
Yeah.
I took no end of game notes because I have nothing to say about this game. I hope this ends up becoming one of those games that we crumple up and throw over our shoulders, but there's something needs to be done. I know there's a lot of guys that are trade eligible as far as starting tomorrow, but just say what you want to say about this game and let's talk about what's next.
All right. So I'm going to answer a few things. First things first, the Bucks absolutely got their ass whooped on both ends. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Offense, terrible. Lack of detail was on full display. Defense, how in the hell, and I know Giannis talked about this too, how in the hell is Mike Conley Jr. at 38 years old beating you down the floor? Consistently, not just once or twice a quarter. It was every damn possession. Julius Randle, not exactly known for being a runner and gunner, beating you down the floor. That is directly on coaching. I wasn't a fire Doc guy because I never want to be one of those teams that just consistently is switching coaches, because that's what bad teams do. But the Bucks have done that over the last couple of years. And obviously makes my point, to be honest with you, they've been a bad team over the last couple of years. Now, injuries have derailed some things and made you think about potential of stuff. But when you go from the defense and the effort that they play with in LA, and then you lose a stinker, now you could chalk it up to bad shooting, chalk it up to bad decision-making towards the end of that game. You could chalk it up to a lot of things. You lose that game, you're like, okay, we got an opportunity. We're back home. We survived the West Coast road trip.
Could have blamed the Nuggets game on altitude.
Yeah,
if they had won this one.
Let's go home. Let's get a dub, and then we'll get right back on track. The lack of effort when players don't play hard, and I agree with Connor. Connor put it in the comments, lack of effort falls on the coach. That, to me, as well, falls on the coach. That, to me, is the first time when I watched that last night was like, they got to fire Doc. It's done. The experiment is done. And I still don't think that trading Giannis is the right move. I was actually going to ask you this question, but I'm going to wait until I finish my point. I still don't think trading Giannis is the move. I still think that trading Bobby Portis and trying to get a wing defender is the right move. But there is a couple of coaches out there, and we talked about it with Trage today in our little text thread, that directly had teams that played hard for them. One, I'm going to name them. One, Taylor Jenkins. No matter what you think about what happened between him and John Morant, he had Memphis playing tough.
John Morant also very well could have been the problem.
John Morant is the problem, continues to be the problem. The dude is in his prime and doesn't know how to stay out of trouble.
I would say the Grizzlies are willing to trade him for salary filler.
If that guy
they
would
literally
ever
just want to
learn
match salary, they just want to be
up,
done.
He could be so stupidly rich if he shuts up. Honestly. And his dad, too. Jesus Christ. Obviously, you know where he got it from. Then you got another guy that you named, Mike Malone. Now, again, no matter what you feel about him, he had the Nuggets playing hard, playing defense.
Won him a championship.
Grinding out possessions on both ends of the floor. I am so sick and tired. Nothing makes me more sick to my stomach than when I have to deal with all this bullshit outside of the sports world. And then I come to the sports world And my teams don't even give effort. They don't run back on defense. They don't box out. What the hell, man? I don't really like making this comparison, but you're getting paid $14 million to box out. Box a goddamn guy out, dude. How's that so hard? I'm about to do that shit for free. Get the hell out of here with that crap. And Giannis is 100% correct that he has to be better. And maybe his voice, people aren't listening to his voice. Maybe they're tired of it. It doesn't matter. You are in the middle of an NBA season with the best player in the conference. Fucking figure your shit out and put your ego to the side, dude. I'm sick and tired of it.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this question. Was it fair for Giannis to boo the fans last night? I have an opinion. I want you to answer yours first.
Was it fair or was it right?
Was it fair? That's how I'm going to phrase it. Was it fair?
Sure.
I agree. How many times have we talked about your job as a fan is not to compound problems. You booing them when they're doing bad. Dog, they practice all week. They do this all year long. Giannis is not shy talking about how long he's been in the league, all the hours and how hard he works. There is a literal Disney documentary talking about how hard and how rare it was that he made it to the league. And then for him to get to this height, don't you ever think that you are okay enough to boo Giannis ever again. And if you're going to boo Giannis, don't go to the game. That's how I feel. And no, he's not kissing his ass, by the way. Because I had somebody tell me online today that kissing ass isn't going to get you anywhere.
There's a difference between kissing ass and actually just supporting.
There's a thing called respect.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the kissing ass aspect of it would be like going to Bobby Portis and saying, oh my God, you're the greatest player ever. That's what kissing ass would be. Supporting is like, all right, guys, come on, let's go. That's two very different things. Now, I'll say this is, yes, there's times where people boo their home teams and stuff like that.
Yes.
You don't think they can read numbers?
Seriously.
They can see that they're behind on the scoreboard.
Seriously, dude.
I guarantee you none of them feel good being down 30. Guarantee you none of them are happy about it.
Breaking news.
Yeah. So as we look at what's next, the Bucks play tomorrow night at San Antonio, and then play Monday night at Atlanta. Atlanta is so weird to me. I don't know what they're doing. So we'll see what happens there. But tomorrow night they play against Wemby. So that'll be super fun to watch just to see Giannis and Wemby go at it. I hope we play like a 4-man zone and everybody else just lets Giannis and Wemby play one-on-one.
Seriously, just let those two go at it, dude.
Let
those two battle.
Yeah, just let them have fun. Let's just see what they look like against each other. Now, I do agree, a change needs to be made. And I don't care if it's firing Doc Rivers or trading for somebody. And me and you can talk about this. Maybe we come up next week with trade candidates and look at some trade packages. Mm-hmm. But something needs to change. Mm-hmm. They can't go on being this inconsistent team that they are right now. That's the biggest thing, is they need to find some consistency somewhere. And I don't think it's with the bodies in the building.
Don't disagree.
All right. So we're going to switch to the Badgers because we get to do our bad news first, good news second this week. So we're going to switch to the Badgers, and we're going to have some fun. All right, Mike, welcome back. So we're switching to the Badgers now, which is great. Saturday, Badgers at Michigan. We're like, oh, damn. All right, we got a tough game. We were talking about, all right, if we just keep it close against Michigan, but their bigs are in a pretty advantageous position, especially if the Badgers are going to be playing without Austin Rapp. So, Mike, start with the guards. Let's talk Badgers and Michigan.
Yeah, this was definitely, I'll be the first to admit, when we talked literally at the end of last week's show, I kind of penciled this one off as in this will be a probable loss. I'll be the first to admit that. But then we developed some stones over this past weekend, so I was glad to see that. Obviously, you can highlight 2 to 3 other guys that you guys will definitely be talking about in a little bit. But Nick Boyd, I'm actually going to argue that this was his best game all year. Now, I will get into that. Number one, played 31 minutes, scored 22 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block. First call out, 0 turnovers, which is great. Second call out, 5 for 5 from the free throw line, which is great. The third call out I really wanted to point out because he was doing his thing throughout the game. He was getting down to the paint on the block, getting most of his looks that he wanted for the most part. But the biggest call out I really wanted to make here is that all 6 of his assists were 3-pointers, all 6 of them. It started off with when he hit John Blackwell on the wing to get things going. And then obviously, he found, Alexis Bielawskis a few times. Jake's going to be talking about him shortly, but all 6 of his six assists ended up being 3-point shots right there. So that was a big part of, how I think we, got this game. His vision was better ultimately. And I talked about him vision, missing out here and there sometimes, whether it's Andrew Rudy in the corner when he's, wide open, maybe he should make that extra pass. But no, this game, he made all the right looks for the most part, again, with the 0 turnovers. That's huge. And he was also being a vocal leader on the court too. When the Badgers were down 14, in that first half, Greg Gard calls a timeout, and there's a clip of Nick Boyd, getting the guys together saying, hey, we got this. Don't worry about it. Worry about the next possession, right? So not only with his stat line was showing up, his leadership was also showing up in some regard too. So, and obviously he had some excellent plays. There was a clip when he literally dribbled cross court the full length through all 5 Michigan defenders and got that layup, which was freaking insane. But no, it was a great game by Boyd. And again, I think ultimately this was his best game all year. So
he did a great job getting downhill, especially in the second half. So I wanted to give him credit for that.
Yeah. And like I mentioned, he was getting most of his looks that he wanted, I think, for the most part, against a very, very good Michigan team, who I personally think is better than Purdue. I think they're the best team in the conference. I know that's up for debate. That's for
Nebraska.
They play each other in a week and a half, I want to say. Yep. I was looking at the schedule today. I'm like, okay, cool. I think it's at Michigan too.
It is. It is. That's going to be a big game.
But yeah, then so great game by Nick Boyd. Jack Janicki, he got 10 minutes this game. He scored 2 points off of it was like a dunk-ish layup type deal off of
I give him a dunk for that one.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool to see. But yeah, 2 rebounds, 1 turnover. So you guys know how I feel about the playing time disparity, who I think should be out there a little more. But that's another conversation for another time. And Zach Kinzinger went out there for 2 minutes, basically went in for a couple possessions for Nick Boyd, didn't do too much. But no, I wanted to really, at the end of this game, I really wanted to call out, this staff and even Greg Gard in particular. This is the 15th top 10 win for Coach Gard. Since he's, been at the realm. And this one other stat, 4 Big Ten teams in the last 30 years have been unranked and beaten a top 2 team in the country on the road. Wisconsin is responsible for 3 of those.
Oh,
3 out of 4. If you recall, do you guys remember Diamond Stone when he went to Maryland?
Yeah.
So that was the last one that I could think of off the top of my head. It was Diamond Stone's freshman year at Maryland. When Greg Gard's first year, we went on the road when they were number 2. Vito Brown went unconscious that game. He hit some big shots. It was basically, awesome. Yeah, that was back in 2016, I want to say. But no, I wanted to call that out. I mean, obviously with the staff, with how much crap that they get, that I don't think is really justified in my view. But that's, again, it is what it is. But no, huge quad 1 win at the end of the day. This is really going to propel us. I think as of today, after last night's game, we're right around the 36 or 37 range. So
37.
We're right on the right track. And again, favorable schedule to close out the month.
And to the coaching aspect of this, we have a very, very healthy respect for Dusty May.
Yeah.
All 3 of us. Very healthy respect for Dusty May. That said, the 12-6 Badgers beat number 2 Michigan on January 19th, 2019, 64-54. And the 11-5 now Wisconsin Badgers beat number 2 Michigan 91-88. 2 drastically different play styles.
Yeah.
So this is just another thing where I think there's some credit due to Greg Gard. for how drastic in the last 2 years this team's play style has changed. For the better, in my opinion. They're not trying to grind games out. They're beating teams the way that other teams want to play. So I think that's going to help them in the future in the transfer portal as well. As far as the teams go, Michigan got off to a really hot start, especially from the three-point line. They got up 21-10. They got up 31-17. The Badgers closed the first half 20-7. That was fantastic. In the second half, they were the opposite of the Purdue game. Like Connor said, they just left Andros Bieliauskas open in the second half. So that was great because he made all of his threes. He's just raining in all the threes. And Jake's going to talk about that. That's the difference of the Purdue game to this game. The Badgers were hitting their threes when the opponent tried to keep them out of the paint. And then the Badgers, I have to say it, the Badgers locked in on defense in the last few minutes of the game. I would say basically the third quarter of the game, the first half of the second half, like nobody was playing defense. It was just back and forth, back and forth, and back and forth, and everybody's hitting everything.
Haymakers. Yep.
and then the Badgers really locked in the last couple of minutes of the game, which was fantastic. So, Scott, Tuesday. Connor said guard has adjusted his offense into the portal era very well. Huge credit. Strongly agree. Andrew said he wants some money at Hard Rock, picking the Badgers over Michigan. He said, with that being said, I didn't actually think the Badgers would win. I'm just a degenerate.
Hey, me either. I don't think any of us thought that.
Looking at the wings, John Blackwell, both of his last two games, in my opinion, he looked much more energetic, which is great to see. He was driving strong. He started 3 for 3 from the three-point line. He hit some really tough buckets with Boyd out with 4 fouls. He finished 9 of 16 from the field, 4 of 8 from the three-point line, which is great to see, and 4 of 6 on free throws. So that's pretty good as well. Finished 26 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal. He did have 4 of Wisconsin's 10 turnovers, so he does have to get that down. Looking at Andrew Rudy, he didn't have a lot of fingerprints on the game, but he did hit one majorly clutch 3. And one thing that I'm going to say with this game and when we get to Minnesota, he does not panic when breaking presses.
Yeah.
So that was great to see from him. Braden Carrington, he checked in much earlier this game, and he had a great transition block followed by a steal. He was giving great effort on both ends, did a great job of getting to and finishing at the free throw line. So he finished with 12 points. And that's 12 of Wisconsin's 14 bench points and 9 rebounds, which is huge, and 4 assists as well, and aided as a ball handler at times also. Again, Nick Boyd was in foul trouble, so Braden Carrington helped bring the ball up the floor a little bit. Play this man 25 minutes a game, please.
At least.
He literally plays positions 1 through 4. If you think about it,
literally does.
Last night was a good example, but yeah.
You know who said that? This guy, like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, maybe even. I've been on the Braden Carrington train for a while, saying that he deserves some more minutes because he does a lot of things. And the guy that I said he should be playing over, Austin Rapp, has been out of the lineup. So Braden Carrington's been playing more, and he's dominating. I have more good things to say about him when we get to the Minnesota game. But Jake, talk about the bigs from Michigan.
Yeah, so let's talk about Nolan Winter first. 9 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 for 4 from the field, and 3 for 4 from 3. Now, the star of the day, I would say, was Bieliauskas. Nobody saw this coming, not even Michigan, obviously. 17 points, 3 rebounds, 6 of 12 from the field, 5 of 10 from the three-point line. So breaking down those threes, you're absolutely correct. 5 of Boyd's 6 assists were for threes, and 7 of the 8 three-pointers that the big guys made were also off of assists. Now, Boyd found Bieliauskas 4 times. Blackwell found them once, so there's all 5 of his three-pointers. And then Boyd found Winter 1 time for a three-pointer, 1 of his 3 threes. And then Carrington found Winter for a three-pointer. That was a 29-footer. That was an NBA 3. If I'm telling you right now that NBA teams are looking at Nolan Winter, seeing his positioning on defense, seeing that he knows how to read when to post up down low, that he understands when to pick and pop, when to pick and roll, Nolan Winter's an NBA prospect this year. He's probably not coming back because he's probably going to be a mid to early second round pick, in my opinion. Just size, his touch outside. Now, we could talk about free throws after this next game. Obviously, he needs to be a little bit better in that area. But overall, he looks like an NBA big, in my opinion. He was fantastic on both ends of the floor. He's been a great rebounder this year. But Bielauskas was absolutely phenomenal. And the offense it's just so much more free-flowing when they get into stuff early. And teams try to press up on us and do full court press and all that stuff to take away some of that stuff that Boyd does really well. But more credit needs to be given to Boyd for his ability to break the press and then still find open guys or when to shoot layups. He is so good for a guy his size, so good at getting to that left hand and finishing in the paint. Yeah. So good. And when he's able to do that, and then you got guys like Bielauskas hitting threes, this Badgers offense can be real dangerous.
Yeah.
Real dangerous. And I don't know if Greg Gard needed to be hitting the head with a frying pan or something, but, dude, getting Carrington on the floor, bro, he does literally every job, bro. He plays defense, he rebounds, he hits threes, he does literally everything. Quite literally everything. He's the glue guy.
He can handle the ball a little bit too. Yep.
And it's no shock that Rapp hasn't been playing the last couple of games and the defense looks a little bit better. Just saying. Respectfully. We can go on to Minnesota, buddy.
Okay. Connor said the Kinzinger needs more minutes. So, Mike, what do you think about that going into Minnesota?
I gave a thumbs up about it, but I mean, should I do a recap, or should I just jump right into the recap? Minnesota?
Jump right into Minnesota.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree, Connor, with what you said. I mean, I've been harping on that for
couple weeks now.
Probably week 3 or week 4, basically since his first minutes that he got.
That's true.
Against Central Michigan when he burned a red shirt, because I think he should deserve a few minutes over Jack Janicki specifically. In terms of the guards, Minnesota, I told Jake this on the side. I thought Minnesota played a hell of a game. They defended us really, really well overall.
Especially in the first half.
They threw us off so much. Even in their man-to-man offense, they really like to pin you down and just work you and just work on every bucket. We didn't get much in transition really at all. We had to work for everything we got, especially in that first half, like you said, Tyler. But Nick Boyd, 31 minutes, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 turnover, 6 of 8 from the free throw line. Now, for Nick Boyd standards, I think, like I said, I thought Minnesota did a really good job holding him in check. I guess they cut him off getting to the paint is what it was. They cut him off from doing his bread and butter, which, again, credit to Minnesota, because that's obviously what he loves to do. But again, with the 3 rebounds, 4 assists, did miss 1 big free throw kind of towards the end there, but he was still finding ways to get involved at the end of the day, and finding guys that did have big nights for us, and a couple guys that you're going to talk about shortly. But Jack Janicki, 18 minutes, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 turnover. Again, I don't see why we can't play a guy like Kinzinger, who has obviously shown he's got the vision. He's an extra ball handler as well, whether it's coming in for Nick Boyd or Jack Janicki, or like I said, I think playing Kinzinger and Nick Boyd could potentially be great at some point this season. But
so I trust Kinzinger as a shooter too.
Yeah, exactly. It is what it is. But yeah, I mean, the biggest call out with this, I mean, unfortunately, you could tell the Minnesota guys were very, very emotional in this game. Braden Carrington, Tyler, you can talk about him, but guys like Nolan Winter, very emotional. Jack Janicki definitely was very emotional throughout this game. He almost according to the analysts, he almost got teed up after having a block of some sort towards in the end of the second half. He was barking at one of the offensive guys, but I definitely want to call this out when it was about 25 seconds to go. Coach Card made the call out in the interview. We're up 4. Minnesota brings the ball down, and Jack Janicki just goes and does makes one of the stupidest fouls I think I've ever seen, and that's when I chatted you guys Janicki with that when I was a pissed off face on it or whatever. But no, that's something we definitely have to learn from. Like I said, Coach Card called him out at everything, but no, I need to see Kinzinger on the floor, boys. I don't know how else to say it anymore without I'm tooting my own horn here. I have for a while, but We'll see what happens there. But I would have liked to see, and then overall, just going into the game itself, I would have liked to see, I mentioned this to Tyler, I would have liked to see when Minnesota went to that zone defense, I wish we would have made adjustments sooner rather than later. Whether that's Coach Gard calling a timeout and figuring something out and not waiting till the second half. But it just seemed like in those last 4 to 5 minutes, we really had no clue what we were doing offensively at all. We couldn't get in any sort of a rhythm. And yeah, that's just one little critique I guess I could have with, the team in general. But, again, this is the second game in a row where the Badgers shot over 40% from three, 15-33 against Michigan, which is 45%, 14-33 last night, which is good for 42%. Half of those came from one specific gentleman, but that's still fine. It's a team sport, is what it is. But this is also the second consecutive game where we overcame double digits. And on this podcast specifically, I've literally said multiple times, okay, especially in the beginning of the year, we get in these deficits. We didn't show any backbone at all. Now, since the new year started, we're starting to show that a little more, right? And you'd like to see that. And it seems like with some of Coach Gard's teams in the past, it has taken a little bit to get the engine going, so to speak. And I think we might have hit it in stride now. So great win for sure. I'm going to throw off 2 quick stats too to end my piece, but this is 10 wins in a row against Minnesota, by the way. You love to see that. Love to see it against your rival. They are a better team this year. Don't get me wrong. I think Nico, their new head coach, is going to have them up to speed on things probably by next season, if I had to guess. But the one more, this is a Greg Gard stat now. Since he took over in 2016, best Big Ten road records. Okay, number 4, Michigan, 45-51 at 46.9%. Number 3, Michigan State, 51-47, 52%. Wisconsin comes in at number 2, 52-47, with 52.5%. Number 2 in the Big Ten since Greg Gard took over for road wins. Purdue. Number 1's Purdue. That's fine. 57-42, 57.6%. And again, people love to call for Greg Gard's head all the freaking time. How many times have we been on this show? And we've literally, we've talked about it. This is 10 years since Greg Gard started. Second best Big Ten road record. Second best. There's 18 teams in this freaking conference, okay? What else is there to say? That's what I'm going to end on.
Yeah, that's a really great point. Yeah. And even to the point of the changes that we just talked about with them offensively, Greg Gard almost is a different coach than he was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So I mean, you could, if you really want to consider it that way, just consider Greg Gard a new coach. Greg Gard 2.0 since 2023. Think of it that way, if it makes you feel better. Connor brought up the same thing with the double-digit deficits coming back and showing the team has fight and want. If anything, to the point of it seeming like they're getting, slower starts to the season as they're figuring out the rotations and guys are getting familiar with each other. Hopefully it's something that the coaching staff can learn from too.
Yeah.
Seeing what they can do differently going into the 26-27 season on how they can get guys up to speed quicker and how they can get them acclimated quicker. So hopefully that's something they can learn from, is the kind of slowish start that they got off to. With the Minnesota playing pretty good, tough zone defense, we can all thank John Blackwell for that, because he was really doing a great job of getting to the paint. That, in my mind, is what forced Minnesota to go zone. Second half, Wisconsin got down by 11. John Blackwell hit back-to-back threes. It is great to see him hitting threes. He had a couple chances to make a dagger, and Minnesota cut the lead to 2, but John Blackwell came and hit the game winner, so none of that shit matters. And Andrew said potential March Madness spoiler team can make buzzer beaters and can beat top-tier opponents. Hey, that's fair.
Why not us?
We've been if they go on to see that for years. We just keep getting into horrible matchups when it comes to the March Madness tournament. But seeing John Blackwell go for 27 points on 8 of 14 shooting, 5 of 7 on threes. So in his last 2 games, he's 9 of 15, 60%. I'm not expecting that to be sustainable, but over a 2-game stretch, both of them on the road, hell yeah.
Yes.
And was 6 for 6 the free throw line. Another hell yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
6 rebounds, 5 assists, only 1 turnover. This is the NBA level version of John Blackwell.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
This is the version that NBA scouts were looking at him and being like, hey, maybe consider the NBA. He went and, found out that, maybe he's not quite ready, and now he's back. These last 2 games are the type of games where it's like he's going to get NBA looks next year.
Mm-hmm.
When he's playing this well and filling up the stat sheet that well, scoring, rebounding, facilitating, not turning the ball over. That was the big thing I had with Michigan. He cut his turnovers from 4 down to 1 and added an extra assist. So, or 2 extra assists, sorry. Fantastic week for John Blackwell. Andrew Rudy, again, kind of similar to the Michigan game, didn't have his fingerprints over the game a lot. He did take an awkward fall on his ankle late in the first half. But again, his experience and his poise are great assets to this team.
Mm-hmm.
So while he's not going to be scoring a ton, not filling up the stat sheet, I do still think he should be rebounding a little bit more. Filling up just 3 points, did have 4 assists. He's a guy that's going to be on the floor in late game situations because he is not a guy who will panic in any situation. He's got experience. He does not panic in late game situations. He is a level-headed player. He is a very smart player. So that's what's going to keep him on the floor versus his scoring. Now we can go to the man of the day, Braden Carrington, who had a career-high 21 points, and being back in Minnesota, getting booed in the first half. You're back at the team that he used to play for 2 years ago before he was at Tulsa last year. Gets in, back-to-back possessions, hits a 3, and then draws a charge. A couple minutes later, hits another 3, hits a deep 3 to tie the game at 24, hits a go-ahead 3 with just under 9 minutes left in the game, 2 more to cap a 14-0 run that gave the Badgers a 9-point lead at one point. Gets a huge block on the last-second possession to kind of wrap this one up defensively. I'm at the point where I'm strongly considering if he should start over Andrew Rudy or Alexis Bieliauskas. Now, I get that Jake's going to talk about Bieliauskas, and he didn't have the greatest offensive game in this game, but I do understand the need to have 2 true big men, and it might be kind of matchup dependent that you could start Braden Carrington at the 4. Not a super, cemented thing, but I think against the right matchups, they could do it. But I think there's a case to be made that he should be starting over Andrew Rudy. Let's say if the Badgers have a couple games where they get off to some slow starts offensively. Other than that, Andrew Rudy being the guy who's in there with Boyd and Blackwell and Bieliauskas and Winter, being out there with 4 guys who are capable of scoring. You might not need Carrington out there, and he can just be your 6th man. But he should absolutely be playing 25 minutes a game. There's no games for the rest of this season that I better see Jack Janicki playing more minutes than Braden Carrington. At all.
Unless foul trouble. But yeah.
Unless foul trouble, but that's an extenuating circumstance.
Yes.
In a regular game, all things the same, I don't even care if you're playing against smaller guards. Braden Carrington can handle that. He's good defensively. He can handle, like Mike said, 1 through 4. He can do all of that, and he plays with energy. He does all of the things, like Jake said. He does all of the things. He scores, he defends, he rebounds, he can ball handle a little bit, and he can still facilitate a little bit. He didn't have any assists in this game to go with his 21 points, but he had 5 rebounds, 2 blocks, a steal, and 1 turnover.
And he took a charge.
At least consider starting him, or he needs to be your 6th man, arguably playing more minutes than Andrew Rudy if you're not starting him.
Coach Gard did say after the game that he was a little banged up even prior to the Michigan game. So for example, what was that, 2 or 3 games ago? Correct me if I'm wrong. He had that sling or that brace, that shoulder brace on him. But yeah, I was listening to Gard after the game last night. He did admit that Braden was banged up. So maybe hopefully now he's damn near close to being 100% healthy.
Yeah,
I'll take him at whatever percent he's at in the last 2 games. Damn.
Yeah.
All right, Jake, talk about the bigs.
Before I talk about that, I just want to say that John Blackwell was the play of the day in the Dan Patrick Show. I listened to that on the radio during the day, so they played the call. The call on the Big Ten Network was elite. He was losing his voice. It was he felt the same way about that I felt. That's how I felt when he was calling it. It's God! I was like, dude, I was losing my voice being there too. It was crazy. Also, I wanted to touch on Rudy. I think he's a guy that needs to trust his jumper more. I'm going to be honest with you. He seems a little gun shy sometimes. Like he's like pumping and pass faking. I'm like, dude, pull that bitch, dude. Seriously, like we brought you here to spread the floor. Shoot it. I don't care if you miss. Everybody's missing at this point. Who cares? If you miss, you'll make the next one. Who cares? You got to have that confidence on the floor. And he is a really, really good playmaker. So I like his playmaking. Talking about Nolan Winter, 39 minutes.
Yeah.
Let that sink in. No overtime, by the way. 39 minutes. Elite. Back home, he was really emotional. He was kneeling at half court after that buzzer beater. So he just missed a couple free throws, obviously. So he's probably thanking God, like, thank God John Blackwell exists and he's on the Wisconsin Badgers in 2026. But another double-double for him. 12 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists. He didn't make any three-pointers, but he still showed a really, really powerful presence down low, I thought. He's getting really good at when to roll and sealing guys off and finishing in the paint.
Especially in transition. Him sealing in transition is a big deal because when Boyd is taking off, Winter is getting a smaller guy on his hip and riding that down to the block so that the smaller guy can't help off of him because he's just going to get a wide open dunk. So he's keeping the small guy on his hip, just waiting for Boyd to get to the wing, dropping it down, layup.
That's basketball IQ. If people don't know that is absolutely basketball IQ. That's good hustle, being exploiting a mismatch. I mean, that's all the things. Again, like I said about Rain character, that's all the things about Nolan Winter. So I don't want it to let it go unnoticed that 39 minutes is fucking crazy for a 7-footer. Bielauskas played 19 minutes. He didn't have the impact scoring that he did in the previous game versus Michigan, but he played a little bit better defense and he rebounded better. We were kind of getting on him a couple weeks ago about his lack of effort with boxing out. He's been much better over the last couple of weeks. And it was when we were talking, I think I brought it up, we were talking about Big Steve, how maybe we owe an apology to Big Steve for how he boxed out, how he rebounded, how he fought. And Bielauskas has kind of taken that personally to a certain extent. And he's helped out Nolan Winter in that aspect. Now, the scoring will come and go with him, but, him playing tough down low is absolutely a big need for this team. It fills a big hole. Last two things I wanted to say. Before Connor stole my thunder there, I was going to say 3 straight conference wins for the Badgers. 2 of them on the road, and both of those men come from behind wins. They trailed at half versus Michigan, 38-37. Tyler brought up how they went on a big run to close that gap. And then they trailed last night 35-28 versus Minnesota. So 28 points at half is kind of bad for a team that can shoot as good as the Badgers. But they figured it out. They got up to 78, so they scored 50 in the second half. That means that this was their first win this year when scoring under 80 points. That's incredible to think about.
78's the new magic number. All right.
When we
used to be 50 overall.
We grew up in the whole Ryan era of we're going to score 47 points and you're going to be in hell for 40 minutes because you're going to score 36 and you're going to hate your life. Yeah. And now we're scoring 50 and a half.
This game's going to be 22-18 at halftime.
50 and a half is crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So looking at Wisconsin, this is going to cover Badgers basketball and Badgers football. Next week, we're going to have Saturday versus Rutgers. That's the only Badger basketball game that we have. We also only have 2 Bucks games. So next week, Wednesday, we're also going to do a transfer portal rundown. The transfer portal does close on Friday for entries. Players can still sign after that. I'm not sure what day the signing, like everybody has to be signed, but if people want to be attending school for the second half of the 2025-2026 school year, the 16th would be that date, I believe, that they'd want to get in so they can get into the spring semester. But we'll give our transfer portal rundown next Wednesday. There are still some moving pieces happening between now and then, but for the most part, everybody's going to be signed by then because, nobody else can enter the transfer portal, so everybody's pretty much entering already. But there will still be a little bit of moving pieces, I'm sure. But other than that, Jake and I'll talk about maybe doing some trade pieces for the Bucks as well. So only a couple games worth of recaps, but we'll have some extra stuff other than that. We'll see you guys next Wednesday. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sticking around. And we'll see you guys next Wednesday.
See you guys.